Hello everybody and welcome back to another election prediction video. This time I'm going to be doing a 2028 presidential election prediction, so about 7 years from now at this point. We'll be into the 2028 campaign, but that is what I'll be doing, and it's going to be between Matt Gaetz and Pete Buttigieg, two relatively young people in their respective parties, and are also two people who are gaining traction in their parties. Pete Buttigieg, Secretary of Transportation, and Matt Gaetz with his close relationship with Donald Trump, President Trump. So both of them potential nominees of their respective parties. So let's just get started with the safe states. As I say at every video, I'm not really going to be going into depth about the margins of each particular state, although California will have a bigger victory margin than Oregon. They're all still safe states for the Democrats. Now, safe Republican states, I'll be doing the same things with. Obviously, Texas is no longer a safe Republican state, and obviously, we're in 2028. We are no longer in 2024. So the demographics have even they will have changed even a greater amount. So with that, the new changes were Iowa will be a safe state, and Colorado and Virginia will be safe Democrat states, especially with somebody like Matt Gaetz being the nominee of the Republican Party. Likely Republican states will be Ohio, Florida, and Maine second. Florida, I believe, will trend more to the right. It went to Trump by 3 points. I do think it'll probably go to Republicans for 4-ish points, maybe 5 points, 2024. And 2028, it could even increase in those margins as Cuban turnout, especially nowadays with Cuba. But as Cuban turnout and Puerto Rican turnout and Venezuelan turnout increase for Republicans, and that demographic, especially in Miami-Dade County, which had a major shift in 2020, will continue to go in that direction and eventually make Florida a very, very solid, potentially, I believe, Republican state. Okay, so now, 2028, let's get to likely states for the Democrats. I believe Maine at large would be likely for the Democrats, as well as New Mexico. And I am going to leave out, I believe the rest of the states will be left out. But still 211, 219 Democrats in the advantage. Lean Republican states. Let's at least start with that. That would be North Carolina. No real trend there, just high proportion of Republicans to Democrats, as it has always been. North Carolina goes into the lean category. Wisconsin will also go into the lean category for Republicans. Another great shift, in the demographics, especially in the Rust Belt. And the final one for lean Republicans will be Pennsylvania, which will continue to shift, obviously, in Republican direction. Went back to Biden by 1.2% in 2020, went to Trump by 0.7 in 2016, Obama by over 6 or 7 points in 2012, but the trend towards the right will continue. There was obviously a small bounce back in 2020, but I believe the exponential increase towards the right will continue going into future elections, especially 2 elections down the line in 2028. But let's get to lean Democrat states. I believe Pete Buttigieg will actually win Georgia by a lean margin, a very suburban state. Pete Buttigieg does have a very good chance at Georgia. I don't think Matt Gaetz will do particularly well in the suburbs. Pete Buttigieg, Secretary of Transportation under his belt, has a really good chance at Georgia, and he really has that appeal in Georgia. Same with the other lean state, which is New Hampshire, not Maine at large. What am I doing? Excuse me, let me just fix that. Okay. And New Hampshire. Pete Buttigieg has that northeastern appeal as well. Oh, and I am going to leave Nevada out of it just because I don't think Latinos or Hispanics, whatever you want to call them, will come out in bigger margins for Buttigieg that they did for Biden or that they did for Obama. I just don't think that will happen, especially with the demographic changes. But I just don't think they'll come out for somebody what you would call like one of those white liberals that people, especially these minorities, are starting to kind of disassociate themselves with voting, which is a bit of actual change. They came out and voted for Trump. They voted for Obama. They did vote for Biden too, but I just don't see Buttigieg doing as well in Nevada or Arizona as many people would expect. But the final lean state would be Nebraska second. Obviously, a suburban area of Nebraska, and Buttigieg would win that pretty handily. So let's go to tilt Democrat states. Tilt Democrat Minnesota would tilt Democrat. It has shifted to the right continually. 2028, it'll get to that tilt lean margin, possibly leans you could argue, but I'll put it in the tilt margin. As the Rust Belt shifts, Minnesota will shift, and I just see the whole Rust Belt shifting in that direction, and I'm going to follow through with that. Another tilt Democrat state will be Nevada. Still, Buttigieg will hold on to Nevada, but by a smaller margin. It's going to be harder for Buttigieg to win in Nevada. Um, and But he still will hang on. He'll get the Democrat votes out. There is a slightly higher proportion of Democrats to Republicans in Nevada, and Buttigieg will hold on to that state. Another tilt Republican state will be Michigan. It will tilt in the Republican direction in 2028 to Matt Gaetz, and he'll win it, obviously following through continually, as I keep saying, with the demographics of the Rust Belt and the changing demographics of the Rust Belt. Okay, so we have two final states that are going to pretty much decide the election, Texas and Arizona. And each of these are going to be particularly close. Arizona, I actually do think will be a close state. Texas, shifting more and more to the left, and Arizona, obviously shifting to the left as well. The first tilt state I'll call is Arizona to go into Pete Buttigieg's favor. Pete Buttigieg will win the state of Arizona by a very, very small margin. I don't think he'll get the Latino turnout that he would hope for, but he will hold on to Arizona if the Democrats obviously hold on in 2024, continuing that Democratic election win trend. But I just don't see as big a turnout for somebody like Pete Buttigieg in Arizona. And I don't see him having that national appeal. I feel like he has more of like an elitist white appeal. Gaetz maybe has that white appeal, but not really to Pete Buttigieg's extent. I think Gaetz is more personable, just on a level like that. But the final state, Texas, 2028. This is 7 years and changing demographics, way, way down the line, and it is going to be very, very close. But what I still see happening is I still see the Republicans cling on to Texas for at least one more election in 2028. I don't think it would shift then. I think they can hold it for the decade. But Republicans need to play their cards well in Texas. Gaetz can hold on. Gaetz does have he's young. He has that appeal. He has somewhat of a suburban appeal. Obviously not Pete Buttigieg's style, but and I do think he has somewhat of a Hispanic appeal. So my final prediction, Gaetz wins the presidency, barely, but he wins the presidency. And goes on to serve until 2033. So we are talking all the way down the line here. But if you disagree with any of the state calls, please tell me why in the description, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Or comments in the description. And I hope you guys enjoyed this prediction. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'd love to get it to 100 subscribers. We're at 88. We are 12 subscribers away from 100. And, we're so close to it. So I think it'd be great if we eventually got there. So thank you. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment if you have any disagreement. And then I guess we'll have a discussion. Anyway, thank you guys so much and have a great day.